Students, let's start with class 8 physics chapter number 2, physical quantities and measurement. So our first topic is density. Each body has certain mass and a definite volume. Volume occupied by a body increases if its mass is increased. Similarly, the mass of a body increases on increasing its volume. So for the study, we have found two more conditions. Let's discuss those conditions. First is equal masses of different substances have different volumes. So for that, we have taken up an iron weight which is placed on a beam balance, and we will adjust that weight, we will equal that weight with amount of sugar. So you will see that the sugar occupies more space and iron will occupy less space than that of the sugar. Mass of iron, weight and sugar are same. So this is because more matter of iron is packed per unit volume as compared to that of sugar. So matter in iron is more densely packed than in sugar. Now second case is equal volumes of different substances have different masses. For that, let's take up water and kerosene, both 100 ml, and we will place that on a beam balance. So you will find that water, the pan with the glass of water goes down, this will go down and this will go up. Why is it so? Because despite of having same volume, water has more mass than kerosene. So we can say that more matter of water is packed per unit volume than that of kerosene. So matter in water is more densely packed than in kerosene. So these activities shows that the material in which matter is packed densely is heavier, and the matter in which it is less packed, it is known as your lighter in weight. So basically density tells you how much mass is packed in a volume of a substance. So it is defined as density of a substance is its mass per unit volume. It is denoted by rho, and it is given by d is equal to mass of substance upon volume of a substance, that is m upon v. So next we will discuss about the units of density. First is standard unit of density, SI unit. So as we know, mass of substance, its standard unit is kilogram, and volume of a substance, its standard unit is meter cube. So when you divide these two, you will get kg per meter cube, or kg meter raised to power minus 3. CG system, in which mass is given in terms of gram and volume is given in terms of centimeter cube. So it is gram per centimeter cube or gram centimeter raised to power minus 3. What is the relation between the two? Let's see. Kg meter cube is equal to 1 kg upon 1 meter cube. So 1 kg is equal to 1000 gram, and 1 meter cube is equal to 100 raised to power 3 centimeter cube. So basically what we have to do, it is 1000 upon 100 multiplied by 100 into 100 multiplied by 3 times, 100 multiplied by 3 times. So when you cancel the 0, you will be getting 1 upon 1000. So 1 kg per meter cube is equal to 1 upon 1000 gram per centimeter cube. When you take up this 1000 can be written as 10 raised to power 3. So when it goes upward, it will be 10 raised to power minus 3. And when we shift this to this side, it will become 10 raised to power 3. And it will become 1 gram is equal to 10 raised to power 3 kg per meter cube or 1000 kg per meter cube. This is very important relationship what you have to learn. 1 gram per centimeter cube is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. This is very important relationship. It will be maximum used in your numericals. So let's start. Determination of density of a regular solid. Regular solid means a solid having proper length or definite length. For example, cube, cuboid, sphere. Irregular means they don't have any definite length or shape. For example, stone and cotton ball. Mass is measured by a beam balance. What are the steps you can see over here for determining the density of a regular solid? So, we will measure the mass of the given solid with the help of a beam balance. Then, we will calculate the volume by using the following formulas. For example, cuboid, length into breadth into height, cube, side cube, sphere, 4 by 3 pi r cube, cylinder, pi r square h, where r is the radius and h is the height of the cylinder, and here it is the radius of the sphere. The value of pi is 22 by 7, that is 3.14. Then we have know the mass, we will know the volume through the calculation. We'll put in this formula, density is equal to mass upon volume. Next, we will read about some vessels used for measuring volume. So first is your measuring cylinder. It is made up of glass, plastic and is graduated in milliliter. It has 0 mark from the bottom and will go upward. These have different capacities. For example, it is 100 ml. This is here also 100 ml. Some are also 50, 200 ml, 500 ml. They have fixed capacities and the capacity of the measuring cylinder is marked on it. Next is your measuring beaker. You might have seen this kind of beaker with a milkman at a grocery shop for measuring the oils, at a petrol pump also. So it is basically made up of glass, plastic, metal like aluminium, and these long handles one basically are made up of aluminium if you have seen with a milkman or at a petrol pump. It is used to take out the fixed volume of liquids. For example, this is 100 ml, this is 200 ml, this is 500 ml. 1 liter. Large containers are also there and their capacity will be always marked at the beaker. Next is you might have read this measuring cylinder, measuring beaker in class 7th also. But this Eureka can is important and this is new to you in class 8. This is actually Eureka can is a glass beaker with side opening near its mouth, which is known as your spout. The beaker can contain a volume of liquid up to the spout. Any excess of liquid overflows through the spout. Let's see the diagram. So basically this is a Eureka can, this is the beaker and this is the spout. So the water will be up to this level only and excess water will be dripped out of the spout, which will be collected with the help of the measuring cylinder. This Eureka can is also known as your displacement vessel or overflow jar. Basically, you might have heard about Archimedes. This Eureka can is named after him only. When he when he suddenly discovered the buoyancy, the buoyant force. So he ran out of the street from the public bath and shouted Eureka, Eureka. From there the term Eureka has come over and it has been named after that legend only. So now we will see how to determine the density of an irregular solid. So basically, solid when immersed in liquid displaces the volume of liquid equal to its own weight. With this displacement theory, we will have conducted a few experiments, activities you can say, using different types of measuring vessels. First by measuring cylinder, next by Eureka can. So first we will take, suppose this is 80 ml of water we have taken over here. This is V1. This is your initial reading or initial level of the water. Next, when you tie a stone and drop it into this without touching the bottom of the beaker, then you will see the level of water rises. Suppose it is 90 over here. That will be your V2. That is the final reading of the water. And how we will calculate this mass? We will take this stone after dipping into it, then we will dry it, then we will put it on a beam balance, and from there we will calculate its weight. The next volume, this is V2 final reading, this is V1. The final minus initial, V2 minus V1. This will be in ml. So we have to convert this ml into centimeter cube. So always remember this thing, 1 ml is equal to 1 centimeter cube, and which is equal to V2 minus V1 centimeter cube. And this density is equal to mass upon volume. This, from here you will get mass, from here you will get the volume. So when you divide it, you will get the density in terms of gram per centimeter cube. Next is by using Eureka can. So again we have taken, we will put some water and we will let it overflow. When it will start dripping, stop dripping from here, then what you will do, we will, this stone tied with a thread, we will put into it. Then again the level of water will rise and it will start dripping. Then that time we will collect that water in a measuring cylinder. So then what we will do, when it will stop flowing out of the spout, we will that time note the volume of water collected through the measuring cylinder, and we will dry this solid and we will put it on a beam balance. With the help of a beam balance, we will calculate its mass. So volume of water collected through the measuring cylinder will be the volume, and this will be the mass. So again density will be given by mass upon volume. Next we will study the determination of density of a liquid. So determination of density of a liquid. To determine the density of a liquid like milk, oil, etc., its mass is measured by a beam balance and its volume is measured by a measuring cylinder. So what are the steps? Let's see. Measure the mass of the empty beaker using a beam balance. You will take a beaker first, then you will measure the mass of that empty beaker with the help of a common beam balance, and it will be some let's say it is some m1 gram. Now take the measuring cylinder and pour the milk into up to a certain level. Let's say 50 ml of milk you have taken. So that 50 ml will be equal to 50 centimeter cube. I have already told you how it is. 1 ml is equal to 1 centimeter cube. Now we will transfer that milk into the empty beaker. Now we will measure it again with the help of a beam balance. So that will be your M2. So that M2 gram will be your mass of beaker plus milk. So how we will calculate the mass of milk? M2 minus M1 will be the mass of the milk. The difference between this mass plus beaker plus milk minus this empty beaker. You will get the mass of the milk. So density will be calculated as mass of the milk from here, and volume you have taken already, that is 50 ml. So by this process you will calculate it into its density. Next we will study about density bottle. So density bottle, earlier it is known by the name specific gravity bottle, but in that model what they have a capillary tube instead of hole. So nowadays density bottle has been used and it is more convenient than those conventional ones. So a density bottle is specially designed bottle used to determine the density of the liquid. And this diagram figure 2.6 shows you the density bottle. It has a small glass bottle. This is a small glass bottle, It has a glass topper at its neck. And the bottle can store a fixed volume of liquid. Say suppose it is 50 ml, so it will store 50 ml of liquid. And if it is 25 ml, and it will store 25 ml of liquid, whatever liquid you have taken. So the stopper has a narrow hole. This has a narrow hole over here, this part. And when the bottle is filled with liquid, the stopper is inserted. The excess water rises through this hole and drains out. And in this way, the bottle contains the same volume of liquid each time when it is filled. So the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So the mass of water needed to fill the bottle completely will be the volume of the bottle. So remember, mass density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So mass of water needed to be filled the bottle completely will be given by the volume of the bottle. So let's see how this density bottle has been used to calculate the density. So determine the density of a liquid using the density bottle. To determine the density of a liquid using density bottle, we have to measure the mass of a liquid and mass of water taken in it by using a common balance. Common balance means beam balance you have to use. And the mass of water in the density bottle gives the volume of the liquid. So let's see how the steps are being given. First, you have to wash the bottle and then you have to dry it. Drying is important. Then you have to measure the mass of the empty bottle. That will be suppose m1 gram. Now remove the stopper of the bottle and fill it with water and replace it with the stopper. Then the excess water will drain out of the bottle, so you have to wipe it those extra water and you have to dry the bottle out from outside. And you have to measure the mass again, that is your M2. Now empty the bottle and dry it. Now fill the bottle with given liquid. Whatever liquid whose density you wanted to measure, you have to fill it in that bottle. And you have to again replace the stopper. Excess water will be draining out and you have to wipe out that from the outside the bottle. That will be your M3 gram. Now mass of water will be M2 minus M1 and mass of liquid will be M3 minus M1. So mass of liquid is equal to M3 minus M1 and volume of liquid will be M2 minus M1. So here you know, all of you, density is mass upon volume and density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. And suppose its mass is M2 minus M1. So volume, what will be its volume? They have asked you. So volume will be obviously when you take it this division form, you can see this volume is also equal to this 1 will come down, volume will go up. This is M2 minus M1 upon 1. This is equal to M2 minus M1 centimeter cube. So always remember, since the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, so the mass of water content in bottle will give you the volume of the bottle. So this is how mass will be equal to volume of the bottle. Next, what we are supposed to find? Density of liquid. Mass of liquid upon volume of liquid. Example is also given here. That is, mass of empty bottle is 30 gram and mass of water is 60 gram. Mass of liquid is suppose 54 gram. So mass of liquid is your M3 minus M1, that is 54 minus 30, which will be 24 gram. And volume of liquid or mass of liquid will be same. If we are using the word mass of liquid, you will instead of a centimeter cube, you will write gram. And if you are writing volume of liquid, you will have to use this centimeter cube. 60 minus 30. So density of liquid is equal to mass upon volume. We'll put it and you will calculate and get the answer. Next, we will read about relative density. So relative density, basically why the name relative density has been given, because it is practically impossible for us to memorize those all the relative density, all the density of the material, of every material. So scientists, in order to avoid this confusion, they have started comparing the density of most of the substance with that of the water at 4 degrees Celsius. So as we are comparing the densities with respect to water, so that is why it is known as your relative density, or it is also known by the name specific gravity. So relative density is defined as the ratio of the density of the substance to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So relative density RT is equal to density of the substance upon density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So in your book it is not given that it is 4 degrees Celsius, but actually it is 4 degrees at 4 degrees Celsius only, because water has maximum density as 4 degrees Celsius, and at 4 degrees Celsius density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube or 1000 kg per meter cube. This is the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius, and this is the maximum density of water. So now let's discuss mass for equal volume of substances and water. What will be the relative density? So all of you know that relative density of a substance is mass upon volume, mass of a substance upon volume of a substance upon mass of water at 4 degrees Celsius upon volume of water. Since volume of substance and volume of water will be equal, so we will cancel those out and we will left with mass of substance upon mass of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So relative density is the ratio of mass of substance to that of mass of water at 4 degrees Celsius for equal volume of substance and water. Since we are comparing mass over here, then densities of two substances, so it is a ratio of same substances. So relative density has no unit, it is a dimensionless quantity. Remember this, children. Relative density does not have any unit, since we are comparing two same quantities. So what is the relation between relative density and density? Relative density is equal to relative density multiplied by 1 gram per centimeter cube, and density is equal to relative density multiplied by 1000 kg per meter cube. So this is the relation between the two. It is also given in your book also. So relative density, basically it helps us to know whether a substance will float or sink in water. For example, gold and iron, its relative density is greater than 1, it will sink in water, and those substances whose relative density is less than 1, it will float in water. For example, wood, oil, cork, etc. Remember, relative density is with respect to water only. It is not with respect to any other liquid, it is with respect to water. So why we have taken, the question arises over here, why we have taken the specific gravity at 4 degrees Celsius only? Why water has maximum density over here? So as you know, water has a very anomalous character, you can say. Most of the substances expand on heating and contract on cooling, but their mass do not change, and density of substances decreases with increase in volume, with increase in temperature. But in case of water, water contracts heating from 0 degree to 4 degree Celsius. When we have taken 0 to 4 degree Celsius, it contracts and expands on heating above 4 degree Celsius. So above 4 degree, it started expanding. So density of water increases from 0 to 4 degree Celsius, and suddenly decreases from 4 degree Celsius to above 4 degree Celsius. So in fact, when the water is in the freezing state, that is in form of ice, it has a lot of empty space in their lattice. So water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius, which is 1 gram per centimeter cube or 1000 kg per meter cube. So this is the reason why water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Next, floating and sinking. It completely depends on density. Density helps us to know whether the substance will float or sink in the given liquid. If density of a body is less than the density of the liquid, it will float, and if the density of a body is more than the density of the liquid, it will sink. Remember this: density of a body less than that of liquid, it will float, and if it is more than that of the liquid, it will sink. So let's take up an example. So if you see over here, iron, wood, coke, and their densities is given in terms of kg per meter cube, and this is liquid, mercury, water, and glycerine, and their density in terms of kg per meter cube. Iron, it is 7800. So if you compare with mercury, its density is less, so it will float on mercury. But when you compare with water and glycerine, its density is less. Its density is more, so it will sink in water. So what you have to do now, we will compare wood. You can see 700. So mercury, can see it is less than here. From water is also less, glycerine also less. So wood will float on these three liquids: mercury, water, and glycerine. It will not sink in any of the liquid. 250 kg per meter cube. Again, you can see it is less than mercury, less than water, and less than glycerine. Its density is less than the density of these three liquids given over here. So the cork will float on these three liquids and it will not sink in any of them. So always remember, the density of the body is less than the density of the liquid, it will float, and if the density of the body is more than the density of the liquid, it will sink. Of substance in its different state. So a substance exists in three forms, all of you know: solid, liquid, and gases. And according to the molecular models, solid has molecules are closely packed, liquids are loosely packed, while gases are very loosely packed. So we can say the substance is highly dense in solid state, then in liquid, then in gas. So when you compare the density, solid has maximum density because the molecules are more closely packed. Then liquid, they have less denser. They are less dense as compared to that of the solid. Then there is gas, their density is least because their molecules are very loosely packed. So in case of density, these are the solid has maximum density, then the liquid, then the gas. Next we will study about principle of flotation. So basically, when a body is immersed in liquid, there are two factors. First is the weight of the body acting vertically downwards. So weight will act vertically downwards. It will be a downward force. The force has a tendency to sink the body. It will pull towards the bottom. And there will be a buoyant force. Buoyant force acts vertically upwards, and this buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body. It has tendency to move the body upward. It is also known as upthrust. So what is buoyant force? When the body is completely or fully immersed in a liquid, it has a tendency to move the body upward. This upward force is known as your buoyant force or upthrust. Now there are three possibilities. Let's see. When the weight of the body is greater than the buoyant force, the resultant force means the overall force will act downward. While it will act downward, the resultant force will be, this is greater, so greater minus smaller one, W minus Fp, and this is, since it is more in weight, so weight always act downward, so the overall force will also act towards the down, and the body will sink in the liquid to the bottom under the influence of this force. So great density of solid is greater than the density of liquid. Next case is when the weight of the body is equal to that of the buoyant force. In that case, what will happen? The resultant weight, that will be W minus Fp, and this will be also, both are equal, so this will be Fp minus Fp 0. So resultant force will be 0. The body will float just inside the surface of the liquid, and this will happen when the density of the solid is equal to the density of the liquid. Third case is when the weight of the body is less than that of the buoyant force. In that case, what will happen? The resultant force will be F of P minus of W. Since this is the overall greater force, the body will move towards upward. The body will float partially, you can say, above the surface of the liquid. Only that much portion of the body will be immersed inside the liquid, by which the weight of the liquid is displaced. So this happens when the density of the solid is less than the density of the liquid. And for flotation condition, when a body is floating, Fb is equal to W. So their apparent weight is 0. So buoyant force depends upon two factors. First factor is volume of the body immersed in the liquid. Second is the density of the liquid in which the body is immersed. So more volume, buoyant force will be greater, and if it more density of the liquid is there, then the buoyant force will be greater. So a body floats with only that much portion of it submerged inside the liquid, by which the weight of the liquid displaces and balances the total weight of the body. So a body with greater density, then the density of the liquid will sink in the liquid, while the body with equal or less than that of the liquid will float on the liquid. Next is law of flotation. So when we have discussed the third case, that time for floating body, Fb is equal to W. That buoyant force is equal to the weight of the floating body. So when a body floats in a liquid, the weight of the liquid displaces by it immersed part is equal to the total weight of the body. This is your flotation law. And weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by its immersed part, that is your buoyant force. So F W is equal to F of P. That is the floating conditions. And here the apparent weight will be 0. And the body will float with its major portion outside the surface of the liquid of a higher density than that of the liquid of lower density. Now let's see this statement with the help of an example. So we have taken two blocks, A and B, wooden blocks, and this is water and this is glycerine. We'll place these blocks on these liquids. So you can notice that in portion A, both are floating okay. In portion A, this block A, what happens is that it floats in water. Its part is less outside the water than inside. then here maximum part is outside the water and the minimum part is in the liquid. So in both the cases what we see that the density of the water is less than of water as well as glycerine, and glycerine is more than density of glycerine is much more than the density of water. So a body floats when its major portion outside the surface of a liquid of higher density than that of the liquid of lower density. So it has higher density, so body major portion will float up the liquid outside the surface of the liquid, and here it has less density as compared to glycerine, so its minor part will be outside the water. Next are some applications of flotation. So first one is flotation of an iron ship. A iron nail is made up of iron, sinks in water, but this ship is also made up of iron, but it has lots of it has hollow and empty space which contain airs. So by this way the average density of the ship will become less than that of water, so that is why it sinks in water. So that is why iron nail sinks in water, and whereas a ship floats on water. Next is flotation of man. So it is easier to swim in sea water than that of the river water. The reason is that sea water contains salt and its density is more than the density of water. So the weight of the man gets balanced by the less immersed part of the body in sea water as compared to that of the river water. Flotation of ice. Ice floats on water with its 1/9 part inside the water and only 1/10 part outside the water. The only reason is that density of ice is 0.9 gram per centimeter cube, while density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So that is why the 1/9 part remain inside and 1/10 part which is floating outside, and this 1/9 part of ice immersed inside the water becomes equal to the total weight of the ice piece. Next is submarine. So submarine is made to dive in and to rise above the surface of the water as desired. So it is a tight boat. It has a water tank. It has water tanks provided here in the submarine. So when we wanted to dive in, so that time we fill this water tanks with water, and its average density becomes greater than the density of the sea water and it sinks down. And when we wanted to come up to the surface, we will completely empty this water tanks, and their average density becomes less than that of the density of the sea water, and thereby the submarine rises out of the water. So yeah, there is iceberg also. Why iceberg is float on water? Very huge, large pieces of icebergs are ice floating on seawater is known as icebergs. It is very dangerous for ship. Its density is less than that of the seawater. So density of ice is 0.9 gram per centimeter cube, and density of seawater is 1.02 gram per centimeter cube. So a majority portion of the icebergs, it's submerged inside the water, and only a small portion of it is above the water. So that is why it is not visible, the larger portion, and sometimes the ships get collided with those large icebergs and it get destroyed. So these are also some applications of flotation given in your book. You can read it out. Next, I wanted to discuss about the temperature variation with density. So variation of density with temperature. The matter expands on heating, all of you know, and it contracts on cooling. For a substance having fixed mass, the density will change if the volume of a substance will change. So for a fixed mass, if volume of substance decreases, then the density will increase. Since both are inversely proportional, if it will decrease, it will increase. And if it has been increased, it will decrease. So solids do not undergo any significant expansion or contraction. As there is no change, or you can say no significant change in volume when it is heated or cooled, almost no change is there in its density. So when you take up liquids and gases, there is a large change in the volume even at a very small temperature. When liquid and gas is heated, their density decreases. When it is heated, its density decreases because their volume increases. So their overall density decreases. But when it has been cooled, its volume decreases, so their density increases. So this is how there is variation of density with temperature. So this is the end of the chapter. Now we will discuss the question answer. Hello student, class 8th. This is question answer of chapter number 2, physical quantities and measurement. So the MCQs, fill in the blanks, and the true false answers already provided in your book. Let's discuss the question answer part. Define the term density of a substance. So it is given in your book, page number 32 of this recapitulation part. Here the definition is given. Density of a substance is defined as the mass of a substance to that of the volume of a substance. Next question. Name the SI unit of density and how it is related to gram per centimeter cube. Let's see the answer. SI unit of density is this kg per meter cube, and the relationship between both the units is given over here. So you have to write till here this much question. Next question. The density of brass is 8.4 gram per centimeter cube. What do you mean by this statement? It means that in 1 centimeter cube volume of brass, it has mass of 8.4 grams. Remember this. Next question. Arrange the following substances in their order of increasing density. So first will be coke, then water, then iron, then brass, then mercury. So this is the table with the help of which we have done that question number 4. Next question is question number 5. How does the density of a liquid or gas vary with temperature? We have discussed also that liquids and gases, there is a large change in their volumes even at the small changes in temperature. Whenever liquid or gas is heated, its density decreases, and when it has been cooled, its density increases. So this much you have to write. This is the effect of density, or this is how the density vary with temperature in case of liquid and gas. Next question. So at a given quantity of a liquid is heated, which of the following quantity will vary and how much? First is mass. It will not change. Whenever liquid is heated, the mass of the liquid will not change. The volume, yes, it will increase. It will change and increase with the rise in temperature. And density, yes, density will decrease with the rise in temperature, decreases with volume, you can write. Next is describe an experiment to determine the density of a material of a coin. It is activity number 1 of your book. So instead of stone, you will write coin over here. So till here you have to write this, or you can also use this method also for writing this question. Next is describe an experiment to determine the density of a liquid. This is your activity number 3, question number 8. To determine the density of milk, it has been given. Instead of milk, you can write liquid. Since in this question there is no mention of using a gravity bottle, so we will write the simple activity which is given on your page number 23, determination of density of a liquid. Now, what is a density bottle and how it is used to find the density of a liquid? Let's see. So this is question number 9, density bottle. You have to write till here and along with this diagram. Next question. Question number 10, define the term relative density of a substance. Okay, and what is the unit of relative density? So relative density, question number 10, the relative density of a substance is defined as the ratio of density of the substance to that of density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. You can also write this definition also. The relative density of the substance is defined as the ratio of mass of any volume substance to that of the mass of an equal volume of water. Any one definition you will write over here. And the next question, question number 11, is what is the unit of relative density? So you will write it has no unit. It is a dimensional less quantity and it is the ratio of same quantities. So this is your question number 11. You will write. Next question. Question number 12. What is the distinguish between density and relative density? So for that we will make a column like this. Then density, it is the ratio of mass to volume of a substance, and relative density is the ratio of density of a substance to that of density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. The units are gram per centimeter cube or kg per meter cube. It has no units, and the relationship between density and relative density you can write like this. Next question, question number 13. Explain with the meaning of the statement relative density of aluminum is 2.7. So the answer is a piece of aluminum of any volume has mass 2.7 times that of an equal volume of water, that is aluminum is 2.7 times heavier than that of the water. Next question, how does the density of a body and that of the liquid determine whether the body will float or sink into that liquid? So this is the answer, number 14. A body floats on the liquid if its density is less than the density of the liquid, and the body sinks in liquid if its density is more than that of the density of the liquid. This much you have to write. Next question number 15. A cork piece floats on water surface while the iron nail sinks in it. So the answer is a small cork will float on water because its density of cork is less than the density of water, whereas an iron nail will sink in water because the density of iron nail is more than the density of water. This much you have to write. Question number 16. Which of the following will sink and float in water if the density of water is given to you, that is 1 gram per centimeter cube? Let's see how we'll do this. So they have given you a substance A, a body with density 500 kg per meter cube. So we will compare this, we will first convert this density, that will be density of what is given to you 1 gram per centimeter cube. Density of water is given to you 1 gram per centimeter cube. So we will divide this by 1000 to get in terms of gram. So it is less than, this is 0.5, which is less than 1 gram per centimeter cube. So it will float in water. Next is 2520 kg per meter cube. So again we will divide by 1000, we will get 2.52 gram per centimeter cube. So it is greater than 1 kg per centimeter. It will sink in water. And this is 1100 kg per meter cube. So again we will divide by 1000 to get in terms of gram per meter cube. You will get 1.1. So 1.1 is greater than 1 gram per centimeter cube. So its density is more, so it will sink in water. Then next, a body having 0.85 gram per centimeter cube density. So this will be less than 1 gram per centimeter cube, so it will float on water. So this is how you have to compare the density of the given body with respect to water. If it is less than water, then it will float. If it is greater than water, it will sink. Next question. Question number 17. State the law of flotation. So here it is given, when a body floats in a liquid, the weight of the liquid displaced by its immersed part is equal to the total weight of the body. This is your law of flotation, and that is the weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by its immersed part. This much you have to write. Next is density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, and density of iron is 7.8 gram per centimeter cube, and density of mercury is 13.6 gram per centimeter cube. So you have to tell whether the iron will float or sink in water, and will the iron piece will float or sink in mercury. So you have to write, since the density of iron is more than that of water, it will sink in water, and since density of iron is less than that of the mercury, it will float in water. Next, question number 19. Three given diagrams are given to you. Three conditions are here. So in which liquid body experience the greater buoyant force? The buoyant force will be same in each case. Which liquid has least density? A, because the minor portion of it is floating, and higher density C, because the major portion of the body is floating outside the water and it is equal. Next, for a floating body, how it is weight related to the buoyant force? So buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. This is how the weight is related to buoyant force. Next question, why does a piece of ice float on water? So it is also given on page number 29 of your book. This is the answer, but you have to write why the piece of ice float on water. You can write it in your own statement also. Next question, why an iron needle sinks in water but a ship made of iron floats in water? It is also given on page number 29. Some applications of flotation, but here it is given iron nail, so instead of nail you will use needle, and accordingly you can also write it on your own words also. Next question, it is easier to swim in sea water than in river water. Explain the reason. Again it is given on page number 29 of your book. Let's see. So this is the answer, number 23. Next question, icebergs floating on sea water are dangerous for ships, and explain the reason. Again it is given on page number 29, and it is one of the applications for flotations. So this is the question number 24. Next question, 25 question, explain why it is easier to lift a stone underwater than in air. So the answer is, in water the stone experiences a buoyant force which counterbalances the weight of the stone acting downward, and this makes the stone lighter and easier to lift the stone in water. So this is why it is more easier to lift the stone in water as compared to that of the air. Next question. Question number 26. What is a submarine and how it can be made to dive in water and come out of the surface of water? It is again one of the applications of flotation given on page number 29. Let's see. So this is the reason, submarine, and you have to write till here. You can also write it in your own words also. This is your question number 26. Next question. A balloon filled with hydrogen rises in air. Explain the reason. Let's see. So this is the answer of question number 27. Next, take up the numericals. First numerical is density of air is 1.8 gram per liter, expressed in terms of gram per centimeter cube and kg per meter cube. So for that, what you have to do, for converting this into gram per centimeter cube, we'll divide by 1000. So your answer will be 0.0018 gram per centimeter cube. And in terms of kg per meter cube, you have to, for converting gram into kg, you will multiply by 1000, and for converting this liter into meter cube, you will divide by 1000. So your answer will be, this 1000 got cancelled. Your answer will be 1.28 kg per meter cube. Next question. Next is dimension of the hall is 10 into 7 into 5 meter, and if the density is 1.11 kg per meter cube, find the mass of the air of the hall. So we will use the formula mass is equal to volume into density. Volume of hall will be 10 into 7 into 5, that is 350 meter cube, and we will multiply with this. We will be getting 388.5 kg. Next question. Question number 3. Density of aluminium is 2.8 expressed in kg per meter cube. So 1 gram per centimeter cube is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. So simply you have to multiply this with 1000. You will get the answer. Next is density of alcohol is 600 kg per meter cube. So you have to express in gram per centimeter cube. So 1 kg per meter cube is equal to 10 raised to the minus 3 gram per centimeter cube. So we will divide this by 1000 to get this answer. Next is a piece of zinc of mass 438.6 gram has a volume of 86 centimeter cube. Calculate the density of zinc. So density is equal to mass upon volume. So you have to divide this and you will be getting the answer in terms of gram per centimeter cube. No need of converting. Next is question number 6. A piece of wood of mass 150 gram has a volume of 200 centimeter cube. Find the density of wood in terms of CGS and in terms of SI. So density is equal to, this is already given in gram and centimeter cube. So first we will find out in terms of CGS. 150 divided by 200, which is 0.75 gram per centimeter cube. Then next we will use this relationship, 1 gram per centimeter cube is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. So we will multiply and get the answer. Next, question number 7. Calculate the volume of wood of mass 600 gram if its density is this much. So here you can see the unit difference. This is gram per centimeter cube and this is kg. We are supposed to convert, either you convert this or you convert this, but my opinion is to convert this one only, because 1 gram per centimeter cube is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube, which will become easier to convert. And otherwise, if you convert this, you will be getting in terms of point also, decimals also. So let's see how to do this. So mass of wood is 6000 kg. This is 0.8 gram per centimeter cube. Volume they have asked. I multiply by 1000 to get 800 kg per meter cube. We use this relationship. So density is equal to mass upon volume. So volume they have asked you, mass upon density, 6000 upon 800, which will be equal to 7.5 centimeter cube. This is the volume. Next question 8. Calculate the density of solid from the following data. Mass is given to you 72 gram. Initial volume of water is 24 ml. And final volume of water is given to you 42 ml. Let's see how to do this. Mass of the solid will be 72 gram. Initial volume of water is 24 ml and final volume is 42 ml. So volume of solid will be V2 minus V1, final minus initial. It should be 18 ml. So 1 ml is equal to 1 centimeter cube. It will become 18 centimeter cube. Then we will, for density, we will divide this 72 by 18. We will getting 4 gram per centimeter cube. Next question. Question number 9. The mass of empty density bottle is 1.8 gram, and when filled with water it becomes 41.8 gram, and when it is completely filled with liquid it is 40.6 gram. So you have to find the volume of the density bottle and the relative density of the bottle. Let's see how to do this. So density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. Density of volume of the density bottle will be equal to the weight of the water in grams completely filling the bottle. So remember this. This is very important because this will be used in every numerical after this. So volume of density bottle, for calculating it, what you will do, mass of empty density bottle M1, that is 21.8 gram, mass of bottle plus water, that is M2, 41.8 gram, then mass of water is equal to M2 minus M1, so which is equal to 41.8 minus 21.8, which you will getting 20 gram. But 1 gram water has volume 1 cc, so volume of bottle will be equal to 20 cc. Cc means cubic centimeters. So 20 cc will be equal to 20 ml, because 1 cc is equal to 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 ml. So this will be the volume of the density bottle. Now to find the relative density of the liquid. So mass of 20 centimeter cube of liquid is equal to mass of density bottle plus mass of 20 cc of liquid minus mass of density bottle. So that is 40.6, that liquid plus bottle weight, minus 21.8, that is the density of the bottle mass, which you will be getting 18.8 grams. Then for relative density, mass of 20 cc of liquid to that of mass of 20 cc of water, that is 18.8 upon 20. This is the mass of water, which is equal to 1.88 upon 2, which is equal to 0.94. Remember, relative density has no units. Next question, question number 10. From the following observation, calculate the density and the relative density of brine solution. So mass of empty density bottle 22 gram, mass of bottle plus water is given to you, that is 50 gram, mass of bottle plus brine solution 54 gram given to you. So let's see how we'll do it. Question number 10. Mass of empty bottle M1 is equal to 22 gram, and mass of bottle plus water M2 is equal to 50 gram. Then mass of bottle plus brine is M3, 54 gram. So mass of water will be M2 minus M1, 28 gram, that is 28 centimeter cube. And mass of brine solution is 54 minus 22, that is 32 gram. So density of brine will be 32 upon 28, which is 1.48 centimeter. Then mass of brine will be, for relative density, mass of brine will be 28 and gram 32 gram, and this relative density mass of water will be 28 gram, so which is equal to 1.14. Remember why we have used this over here 28 centimeter cube, because mass of water is equal to the volume of the water. Next question, question number 11. The mass of a empty density bottle is 30 gram, and it is 75 gram when completely filled with water and 65 gram when completely filled with liquid. We have to calculate the volume of density bottle, density of liquid, and relative density of the liquid. Let's see. So mass of the empty bottle is 30 gram, mass of bottle plus water is equal to 75 gram, mass of liquid plus liquid X, some unknown liquid is given to you, that is 65 gram. Then mass of water will be equal to M2 minus M1, that is 75 minus 30. Then mass of liquid will be M3 minus M1, 65 minus 30, 35. The volume of density bottle will be equal to mass of water, that is 45 gram, which is equal to 45 centimeter cube, which is equal to 45 ml. Now for calculating the density of the liquid, we will write mass of liquid upon mass of water. So 35 gram upon 45 centimeter cube, which is equal to 0.77 gram per centimeter cube. Now mass of water is 45 gram, which is equal to 45 centimeter cube. This is the volume of water in density bottle. So relative density of liquid is mass of 45 centimeter cube of liquid to that of mass of 45 centimeter cube of water. So again it is 35 by 45, you will be getting 0.77, and it does not have any unit because it is unitless. So this is the end of your chapter number 2.